Hi everyone, meteorologist Ethan Emery here in the Fox 19 First Alert Streaming Center for our Sunday edition of 19 at 6, our weekend weather show. It is available wherever you stream on fox19.com, the Fox 19 News and First Alert Weather app. We're live on the 24/7 Weather streaming channel. We're live on Facebook where you can ask comments, or ask questions rather, and have comments both on the Fox 19 Facebook page as well as my Facebook page at Ethan Emery WX, and of course we're live on YouTube. Eventually we'll be able to chime in and ask questions and comments there, but for now it's only on Facebook. So good evening everybody, meteorologist Ethan Emery here. I'm dressing for summer because today certainly felt like summer when you stepped outside with those warm, breezy conditions here in the tri-state, and a lot to cover. I know we've got a lot of topics that we're going to be discussing tonight at 10 o'clock as the Bengals flagship station. The Bengals, unfortunately, now 1-4. We also have the latest on Milton, Hurricane Milton. It's going to be impacting Florida, not impacting the tri-state, but for folks who are living in Florida, a lot of evacuations already in place, and just a serious situation unfolding rather, for folks in Florida. That, and then also our 14-day forecast, exclusive 14-day forecast. We've got that here, and then also perhaps some rain chances here this evening for a couple of spots, although I think we're going to be mainly dry for that. So all of that coming up in a moment. We got your forecast first, though. I always try to promise you the first couple of minutes giving you that first alert forecast, just in case if you got some outdoor plans this evening, or maybe you're getting some homework done last minute before classes tomorrow. Maybe you're getting stuff prepped for tomorrow, getting your lunch packed before you're going to work tomorrow morning. Maybe you want to have some dinner time and you want to spend some time with your family or friends. Giving you that forecast now, that way you can enjoy those things. Of course, if you want to stay, and you can stay, we welcome that as well. But right now, looking at tonight's forecast, the front passes through, which is going to bring us that rain chance this evening for our far eastern counties. But tonight's low, 48 degrees. And then tomorrow, a bit more milder, but not too bad, especially for this time of the year. Upper 60s, a lot of sunshine and a light wind. But the 7-day forecast, we do have temperatures rebounding back into the low to mid 70s by Wednesday, 73 for a forecast high. Then Thursday, 72, Friday, 75. And then next weekend, we're right back in the low 80s. 80 for your Saturday, 81 on Sunday of next weekend, and also looking at breezy conditions next Sunday. And we will go beyond the 7-day forecast and talk about what to expect going into through the middle of the month of October, as of course we always do that here on Fox 19 on 19 at 6. So that is the 7-day forecast. And if you got to head out of here and maybe get some of those chores done, whatever it is you might have, you could be dismissed. But again, if you want to stay with us, we got a lot to cover. We do have some updates in the National Hurricane Center with Milton, and then of course we have that more details on this forecast this week and that 14-day. For those of you joining us right now on Facebook, want to chime in. What are your thoughts with the Bengals game? I've already posted on my Facebook page. It is a lot of questions that need to be answered. And I know our talented sports team with the Bengals flagship station, we are going to ask some of those questions to the Bengals organization, just because it's 1-4 with the offense that we have. It's incredible. But yeah, there's a lot of things to be said, but I don't know if it's going to help. But if you want to chime in, you're welcome to do that. Also, hopefully your weekend is going so well so far. My weekend certainly has. I got some family in town, and it's been really nice to be able to see my mom, my stepdad, and seeing some cousins and grandparents. Don't get to do it as often as I'd like to, so it's nice. Also, want to remind you that tonight at 10 o'clock, we're going to be live on Fox 19. I know yesterday was kind of a messy schedule because we were on 19.3 and wherever you stream, but tonight it's normal, so you'll be able to watch us there for the latest news, weather, and sports. So we've got all that cooked up for you coming up. It's 6:05 now. By this point, some of you might be joining us, so I'm going to take a look at the Facebook comments and questions before we continue. None on the Fox 19 Facebook page. Take a look at my Facebook page real quick, at Ethan Emery WX. And then we will move on. because we have to. All right, 4 comments on my Facebook page already. Betty says, hello, how was your weekend? So far, so good. Like I said, family's in town. It's been really nice. Betty's asking, how bad will that hurricane be? The Hurricane Milton, in fact, I was wanting to dive into that once I concluded with the forecast first. And that is, unfortunately, unfolding to be something that is kind of scary for the folks in Florida. Not to, I'm not trying to mince words. I'm not trying to hype. It's a situation that you don't like to see because of just how quickly this thing is intensifying. It's going through a process, what we call as rapid intensification. The pressure of the warm core low, that is the tropical or the hurricane now, is decreasing rapidly. So it's gaining strength very rapidly, and you can already see the plume of the higher cloud cover with this. No eye yet on satellite, but you can certainly see that curvature there where it is swirling, and it is making a beeline east before curling up to the north and east towards the Gulf Coast, the west coast of Florida there. And so here is the latest forecast as of 5 p.m. from the National Hurricane Center. Whoop, going too far on me here. Let's back it up. So it's currently a Category 1 hurricane. Winds are at 85 miles per hour. Pressure's already down to 983 millibars. 24 hours ago, we were talking about pressure at 1,003 millibars, I believe. So this thing has dropped 20 millibars in 24 hours. That's a significant drop in pressure. If you don't know, how pressure is important with weather, you got your highs and your lows. Talk about low pressure systems moving through, bringing in storms. A hurricane is an area of low pressure, and obviously the pressure number here is dropping, indicating that it is strengthening. And if that's still confusing for you, just don't worry about it. The focus right now is the wind, and then of course the rain inevitably for folks in Florida. So by Monday, or actually by midnight tonight, expected to become a Category 2 hurricane with winds at 105 miles per hour. Going into Monday afternoon, into Monday evening, into Tuesday early morning, it's expected to go up to a Category 4 hurricane. And then by Tuesday at the lunch hour, the peak of this storm, it appears to be, according to the National Hurricane Center, winds at 145 miles per hour, and again, a strong Category 4. Again, this is a very serious situation for those folks in Florida. Now, that being said, there is some winds that this thing is going to have to hit, and it will make it lose some strength. However, not by much. The forecast is still expected to be a Category 3 hurricane by Wednesday early afternoon. Winds estimated to be at 120 miles per hour by Wednesday afternoon. And the cone of uncertainty, we call it the cone of uncertainty because it's going to depend on where the center of this thing goes. It goes as far north as Horseshoe Beach or as far south as Marco Island. So Tampa, Sarasota, Fort Myers, Cape Coral, these areas here are going to be under the gun with a lot of impacts, life-threatening storm surge, very torrential flooding rains, damaging winds, of course. The forecast of winds of 120 miles per hour. And then this is kind of the overall view. So if you're worried about folks in Appalachia, if you're worried about us here in the tri-state with Milton, there's no need to be. It's not going to impact the folks in Appalachia dealing with Helene. It's not going to impact us in the tri-state because the forecast does take it off to the Atlantic coast, and it's going to significantly weaken as it does. But it still will bring in some storm surge, it looks like, perhaps along the Atlantic coast in the Carolinas, some rainfall there as well, and perhaps some gusty winds on the back side of it. But it's not going to do anything like what Helene did in North Carolina. I know there's been a lot of misinformation on social media. I'm telling you this to silence that and to give you a break from all the false information that goes around on social media, unfortunately, in today's age. But this is the current track from the National Hurricane Center. Again, this is Hurricane Milton, forecast to become a major hurricane by tomorrow and become as strong as a strong Category 4. So, again, that's kind of the reality of this situation here. Now, when it comes to rainfall, there will be some heavy rain ahead of Milton. So, if you got folks down in Florida, they're seeing rain tomorrow and even Tuesday. It's not from Milton. It's already going to be some heavy rain for those folks down in Florida, especially through the central portions of the Everglades. You can see here areas in red and orange indicating rainfall amounts greater than 3 to 5 inches. And some of those spots will play this forward and go ahead into Tuesday afternoon. There you see it. Some areas could see as much as 6, 7, 8 inches of rainfall through much of central Florida there. And you can see this particular forecast model does show areas like Cape Coral, anywhere between 2 and 3 inches of rain. Palm Bay, 3.4 inches of rain according to this particular forecast model. And in Tampa, 1 inch of rain. Now I'm going to play this and it's going to show you the rainfall from Milton. And this is going to be this plus what Milton will bring. So the number is going to increase quickly. This is going into Thursday, early afternoon. Areas in yellow, anywhere from 8 to 12 inches of rain. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of plot points in the middle here to show you that some locations could very well see a foot of rain from this. And mind you, Florida is very flat for the majority of Florida, and that's going to lead to a lot of flooding, a lot of concerns there with the flooding in Florida. And then it goes into Friday, and you can see in one area it's close to a foot on the forecast model with these plots. Daytona Beach, this particular model is showing more than 11 inches of rain there. Sugar Mill Woods, 8.5 inches of rain. Tampa, more than 6 inches of rain. So Milton's going to bring a lot of rain. Let's take a look at the winds. This is forecast wind gusts. Now, mind you, it's not going to show the 120, but I'm showing you this to show you that it's going to be a large span of winds that will be damaging. We'll play this forward Wednesday. You see wind gusts 40, 50 miles per hour. We continue this on. It's showing hurricane force wind gusts Wednesday early afternoon towards Tampa. And continue to play it out. Large areas of purple here indicating those tropical storm force winds all through here. So widespread power outages very likely for folks in Florida. The life-threatening storm surge cannot be dismissed. In fact, we'll go ahead and show you that right now. So in northern Florida along the Gulf Coast from Cedar Key closer towards Tallahassee, the storm surge looks to be about a foot to less than 3 feet. But we go down further towards Spring Hill, East Lake, Clearwater, St. Petersburg, Tampa, down towards Sarasota. These areas could see storm surge greater than 9 feet above the ground. And this is officially from the Hurricane Center, the National Hurricane Center. This is not a model. This is official forecast data from the National Hurricane Center. And Fort Myers, Naples, showing also storm surge greater than 9 feet above ground in some spots. So, again, it's a situation unfolding for Florida for Tuesday night and Wednesday, and through Wednesday into probably Thursday morning, with impacts still lingering behind this. So, if you got friends or family down in Florida, make sure you check in with them, make sure that they are doing whatever they can to be safe, listening to their local authorities when it comes to evacuations, resources, things of that nature. So that is the latest of Milton. Back here at home, let's go ahead and shift gears now because I do want to point out that we do have some rain chances here this evening. It's part of a cold front that is going to actively make its way through the tri-state here the next few hours. And it's not doing very much other than bring in some gusty winds. And right now, this looks like that might be rain or smoke getting picked up. Let me look at radar real quick. Let's see, that might be a brief shower. Hard to tell on that camera with the distance that it's at. as this loads. Well, radar's completely quiet. So it's not rain, apparently. Apparently there's some smoke or dust from those winds getting picked up on the tower camera. Let's see if the levee camera picks up anything. So again, radar is quiet right now, at least what our first alert radar is showing. So it's going to go, the screen's going to go black for a second as the Newport levee camera loads. I just want to see if this is just dust getting picked up from those gusts of wind, and I believe the front is probably passing through very soon. Yeah, okay, so it's not rain. So I guess that camera, the angle's just sitting just right where maybe dust is getting picked up from those gusts of wind, because it is breezy afternoon here in the tri-state. Let's turn on the, let's go back to radar and satellite real quick, and then we'll go ahead and proceed with looking where that front is and seeing if there's any development to our east. Okay, so there's the front. You can see kind of where the shower and storm activity is. Go ahead and draw this front for you. So the front is right here. So we're actually beginning to see those winds from the cold front now in the Cincinnati metro area. And these showers and storms towards the Pittsburgh area, east of Cleveland, we've told you this the last couple of days, that you know, folks towards Youngstown, folks towards Pittsburgh, down towards Wheeling, and even into Charleston, West Virginia, could see the potential for some strong storms. I don't see that here in the tri-state for us, but it is going to bring in the potential for maybe a few sprinkles or light showers. So this is over towards the Pittsburgh metro area. They got a severe thunderstorm watch for those folks towards eastern Ohio, into western Pennsylvania, even into western New York, towards Buffalo. They got a severe thunderstorm warning there, even a tornado warning north of Pittsburgh, and then a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings there. And the atmosphere there a little bit more conducive for strong to severe storms. And you can see right here the range trying to grow to the southern extent of this front. We've got too much dry air that's going to, you know, unfortunately limit any rain chances for us here. But again, I can't rule out a sprinkle or light shower over the next couple of hours. And we'll show you that in the rate on the model data here in just a second once I find it. And then we'll go from there. Take a pause once I show you this data, and then we'll take a look at those Facebook comments and questions before we continue. Model doing a very good job right now at showing where that front is. Okay, again, you can see by around 8 o'clock, a few showers and thunderstorms popping up over towards the upper Scioto Valley and towards the, it's over towards Licking County, it looks like, towards Hocking County even. And notice, once we go after sunset, it just kind of falls apart. It's losing some of that daytime heating. And again, it's moving into a dry atmosphere. So if you're in these counties here, we talked about this yesterday on 19atSIX. Georgetown, Hillsborough, West Union, Vanceburg, Maysville, Mount Olivet, Brooksville, Kentucky. If you live in those areas, or I'll say the counties for you, Highland, Brown, Adams, Lewis, Mason, Robertson, and Bracken counties. You folks might see a sprinkle, light shower, maybe a rumble of thunder, but nothing more than that. And then by 11 o'clock, we're in the clear. And cooling down, because this is a cold front. And it will bring in some more cooler conditions to start the work week off on a much better note. Let's go ahead and begin with looking at today's high temperatures. Again, I'm wearing this because I stepped outside, it felt like summer, I wanted to look like summer. Although my hair is probably a little more thicker than in what I'd like to have in the summertime. Today's high was 86 degrees, so 15 degrees above normal for this time of the year. Morning low was 11 degrees above normal at 61, and of course, no rainfall measured at CVG. Right now, we're seeing temperatures in those low to mid 80s, 85 currently in Hamilton over at the Lunken Airport, 81 down into Falmouth, 79 in Batesville, 83 over at the Wilmington Air Park. And those dew points are still, it's a little humid when you're outside for a little bit. Dew points are in the low 60s. But notice, towards the banner, right up here, all of this going towards Indiana, that's all brown. and that is drier air. You can already see a little bit of that brown coming in towards Fayette County in Indiana. Richmond's dew point has dropped to 46. That's the front. And once this front passes, much drier, much cooler air will move in. But ahead of this front, we've got some gusty winds out there. Winds sustained are anywhere from 10 to over 20 miles per hour. And wind gusts are close to 25, even close to 30 miles per hour. So let's look at tonight's forecast lows. Then we'll take a pause and look at our Facebook comments and questions. I know I was going to check them out after the model data, but I got ahead of myself on looking at the current conditions. Overnight low tonight is 48 degrees, and we're looking at clearing skies. Still a little bit of a breeze out there, at least for the first half of the night. So if you're wanting to burn stuff tonight, I know in Ohio and Kentucky, there are seasonal burn bans until 6 p.m. So now, according to Ohio and Kentucky's fire laws, you can burn something, but with these winds, I would proceed with caution. And tonight may not be the best night to do it. Tomorrow evening, you probably got a much better chance to burn something without any threats of those winds carrying that flame, so to speak. So at this point, let's take a pause and look at our Facebook comments and questions. Cody asking, what's for dinner? Well, that's a good question. I don't know. Probably just going to have a snack from the break room up here at Fox 19. Had a good lunch today. My uncle had smoked some wings. That was really, really nice, especially watching the beginning of the Bengals game, doing that. And then a glass of cold apple cider was really nice. Now it's just a water. Ashley says, hi, Ethan. Hope you've enjoyed this beautiful weekend. I have. Again, spending time with family has been really, really nice, something I've really needed. And it's always great to have that time. Ashley also says, prayers for Florida. They can't catch a break. Yeah, it's a serious situation down there. I know once this passes, we're probably going to need a lot of resources. So something we're going to have to monitor and, of course, relay that information here on Fox 19. Sarah asking, I'm assuming we won't see anything from Milton. That is correct. We're not going to see anything from Milton. In fact, Milton is going to stay in the Gulf of Mexico through Florida, and the impacts as far north as it goes, maybe far southern Georgia with some rain and some winds, as well as along the South Carolina coast as it makes its exodus from the U.S. That is about it. In terms of it being moving in this direction. It's not going to. It's going to be in Florida impact primarily. Gabe saying, Houday Nation, we will come back. It's just been a bad start. Yeah, I still have hope. They've still got 5 AFC North games. You win those, you can get into the playoffs. And it's doable. You've seen the Cleveland Browns. Have you seen the Pittsburgh Steelers? It's possible. But again, there's a lot of things I could say about the team. Very positive fan, but me saying it won't do any good. You can see my Facebook and Twitter account. I've said plenty. And our fabulous sports team will have a lot to say as well tonight at 10 o'clock as we are the Bengals flagship station. Now we'll look at my Facebook page at Ethan Emery WX. I got 11 comments. Wow. All right. Sarah says, hi, Ethan. Hope you're having a good evening so far. Can't complain. Thank you, Sarah. Betty says, I feel bad for the people in the South. Absolutely. It's heartbreaking to see the images and what the people are going through. They're in Appalachia. They're in North Carolina, Eastern Tennessee. It's heartbreaking. You're right. Betty also says we won't be getting any of that hurricane. Correct. Sheila saying, I have a friend in St. Petersburg, Largo, and another friend on the other coast right outside of Jacksonville. My friends have been through so much already, so scary for my friends and others in Florida. The Gulf Coast, so St. Petersburg, Largo, are going to see much greater impacts with storm surge, the very heavy rainfall situation, as well as the damaging winds. But even into Jacksonville, they could be seeing some strong winds as well as heavy rain there too. So again, they got to listen to their local officials, their local meteorologists, and that is, the best I can offer with that. Yeah, it is a very scary situation. Sharon saying, my family from Venice are I'm assuming you're meaning evacuating on Monday to my niece's home in Tampa, which is very far inland and built by an engineer from MacDill, and they are on the power grid with a major hospital. My thoughts are with them. If they're still staying in Florida, it's staying in Tampa especially. That's a dicey situation. But again, if they listen to their local officials, they know what to do. Okay, that's all the comments on my Facebook page at Ethan Emery WX. And at this point, we will go ahead and resume back to the forecast, the first alert forecast here. So tonight's low, 48 degrees, clear skies. Heading into tomorrow, we've got a lot of sunshine, a bit cooler too. Tomorrow, I'm excited. I get back into doing some outdoor work. I have some plans with my uncle, my mom, and my aunt and my stepdad. Going to do some outdoor stuff like cutting some more honeysuckle, maybe doing some transplanting of some trees and shrubs, doing some cleaning, helping them out on some stuff outside. I'm excited, especially with weather like this. This is what I can get behind for sure. And then if you're traveling tomorrow, because some folks live around the tri-state, might work up towards Dayton or Columbus or Indianapolis or Lexington even. Got some folks probably heading down towards Lexington who live up this direction. So the forecast tomorrow, no matter where you go, anywhere from the Great Lakes and Ohio Valley regions, it's going to be dry and mild. Temperatures up in Cleveland, though, 60 degrees, a bit cooler up there. 68 towards Columbus, 68 also in Chicago, 70 in Charleston, 70 in Lexington and Indianapolis. The mid-70s down towards Nashville and St. Louis, 73 there for their forecast high. So again, we are looking at a cold front developing here this evening, passing through the tri-state in the next few hours. Not seeing much development with it for us in the tri-state, but we could see a sprinkle or light shower out of it. I can't rule it out. But this is going to be mainly concentrated to our far eastern counties, basically from Clinton County all the way down towards Bracken and Robertson counties and areas east of that. But it's going to struggle to develop here. It's just been so dry here that it's not going to have the best conditions to develop in that regard. Okay, before we continue, I do want to look at the tropics one more time to show you a couple of systems. We have 3 hurricanes right now in the Atlantic. There's Milton, there is Leslie, which is going to continue to move west, but it is weakening. And then there's also Kirk. I want to show Kirk because this is kind of unique. Or at least abnormal. I don't want to say it's unique because this has happened before with other tropical systems, but right now it is a Category 1 hurricane. If you can't tell, on the very top of the banner, that is St. John's. This thing is way up in the northern Atlantic, or traveling towards the northern Atlantic, and its trajectory, according to the National Hurricane Center, is to France. Kirk is going to France, and could bring in some impacts also towards northern Spain, towards Portugal, and even into perhaps southern England. Could see, and even into Ireland, could see some wind and rain impacts from the remnants of what will inevitably be the remnants of Hurricane Kirk, which is currently a Category 1. So, again, a very unique situation. And right now in the latitude, it's basically on the same, it's roughly the same latitude as the tri-state, or at least part of the tri-state, give or take a couple of degrees latitude. But it's making its way towards Europe You don't see that all the time. It happens, but it's not every hurricane season. And then I mentioned Leslie. It's out in the central Atlantic, and it's kind of stalling out, so I'm not going to show you that. It's not really much of concern at the moment compared to Milton or even Kirk. But there is one other development, and that's all the way out towards the coast of Africa, towards the Santa Maria area. And the next 7 days has a small chance of developing into something, but at this point, that is the only other tropical system we're monitoring, other than Milton and Kirk and Leslie. Okay, that's the tropics. I just wanted to cover that to highlight Kirk and then also show you those other things that are going on. So now let's look at our forecast with the model here behind me. This is right now, or at least the next hour from now, and it shows that front and the activity mainly staying to our north and east. And you'll see here Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. The next weekend, it's dry. Although Friday, it did show some cloud cover. And that's it. But we go into the latter half of next weekend, so October 13th and 14th. You can see here, we've got a system moving into the region, the Great Lakes region. And there are some question marks with this. How far south will the low pressure go? Will it bring with it the front? Will we be seeing kind of a similar situation as to what we're seeing today? Are we going to see this low pressure system bring in more rain for us or less rain for us? Those are questions that are yet to be answered. And if you watch 19atSIX on a regular basis, you might have recalled me talking about this in the middle of September. I mentioned the second week of October, keep an eye out. There could be a big pattern change. Now, granted, the pattern change is not as significant as I thought it would be. Of course, that far out, a lot of things can change. But this system has been consistent amongst the models, the long-term models of something developing. And this low pressure system, this far out, this is more than a week out, or about a week out roughly. It's going to depend on where this low develops. So Sunday of next weekend and Monday the following week, October 14th, keep in mind there could be some rain chances. But I did eliminate the rain icons from our 7-day and 14-day forecast from Sunday and Monday because there is stronger evidence of it being kind of like it is today, drier air that the rain has to work against. Now, that being said, the low pressure system, if it does drop a little bit further south, it could mean better rain opportunities for us. But I will say Sunday and Monday of the following week does look breezy, and there's going to be a big temperature shift. So again, here's the model for Monday afternoon, and then we go into October 15th and 16th. It does look drier by that point. So let's go ahead, without further ado, show you the 7-day and 14-day forecast. And you'll see that today was very warm. We had a high of 86. Tomorrow, much milder, much closer to normal, 69 our high. And in fact, the first couple of days of the work week will be normal. Highs generally in the upper 60s and low 70s is what you'll want to see in early October. And then morning lows will be in the low to mid 40s. Now tonight, our low is 48, but tomorrow night, the low is 43, so much chillier. And we could see some spots in the upper 30s. I can't rule that out. If there's question marks on frost, I would say it'd be very, very limited right now. It does not look to be a widespread thing for the time being. Temperatures look to be a little bit too mild for frost development. But some rural spots, can't rule out an isolated spot or two, especially for areas north or perhaps northeast. That's for Tuesday morning, by the way. Tuesday high 71. Wednesday morning starting off at around 44. Wednesday afternoon 73. And again, sunny. This is a boring forecast. I mean, I'll be completely honest with you. Just sunny in the day, clear at night. Highs generally close to normal in those low 70s. Lows generally close, or maybe a little bit cooler than normal in the low to mid 40s. But then we go into the end of the week, and look at that. Temperatures bouncing up pretty quick. 75 for Friday. I've warmed up next weekend because of how dry it's going to be this week. Oftentimes, models can sometimes be a little bit too cool And given the parameters I look at on model data, I'm expecting to see highs in the low 80s next Saturday and next Sunday. And notice I said next Sunday, which is October 13th, breezy conditions and very warm. Can't rule out a chance of rain next Sunday. I got rid of the icon because, again, data is suggesting that it does look a bit drier than it does wet. Yesterday, I was kind of bullish on keeping the rain, but evidence continues to support it, so I conceded to the fact that it does look drier now next Sunday. But it does look breezy. It does look warm, very warm, 81. But, again, that low pressure system is hovering towards the Great Lakes region next Sunday, and there's going to be a strong front with that, and it will bring in a pattern shift. And as you can see, beyond the 7-day forecast, October 14th, again, breezy for that Monday. A slight chance. I can't rule it out, but it is cooler. High of 70. And then we got highs in the mid to upper 60s for Tuesday, the 15th, Wednesday, the 16th, and then morning lows in the low to mid 40s again. Now, we go into the beginning of the latter half of October, so it's the 17th, 18th, 19th, and 20th. There are some question marks. It does look drier than it does wet, but there are indicators of perhaps some shower chances at that point. And temperatures look to be a little bit above normal. Because at this point, average highs are in the mid-60s, average lows in the low 40s. So it's a little bit above normal with temperatures, and it does look drier. But there are, again, some question marks on rain chances for the 17th, 18th, 19th, and 20th. And if you want to know even beyond the 14-day forecast, where I don't have the, well, actually, you know what? I might show you a graphic I don't show very often. I'll show you that here in a second. I've made up my mind. I want to show it to you. But let's first show you the 7-day plus. That way you can kind of see what I'm talking about. Some visual to work with here. So here is the normal line. So our average high today is 71. We went up to 86. Obviously well above normal. Tomorrow we're actually a little bit below normal, but generally the majority of the work week ahead we're going to be hovering near normal. Then next weekend we're well above normal. Highs in the mid to upper 70s and low 80s. Then during the work week of next week, we're near normal. And then we go into the following weekend, and we're a little bit closer to normal, but still above normal. And then the morning lows are going to kind of follow suit. So during the majority of this work week, a little bit cooler than normal. This upcoming weekend, a little bit above normal. The following work week, a little bit below normal. And then going into the following weekend, near to just above normal. So that is the 7-day plus. Take a pause real quick before I show you that cool graphic where we talk about even beyond the 14-day forecast. Kind of share my thoughts here in just a moment. But first, let's look at those Facebook comments and questions. Ah, man. Fox 19 Facebook page, no additional comments or questions. Darn. Look at my Facebook page then, at Ethan Emery WX. Also, no additional comments or questions there. All right, so I guess I'm just talking to myself. I'll still do it just because I want to geek out for a second. So this is what we call geopotential heights. I won't tell you the definition. I don't want to confuse you. But what this is it shows you the heights of the air. Lower heights, cooler air. Warmer heights, or higher heights, warmer conditions. And it kind of gives you a good idea of where ridges and troughs are. Ridges are, where high pressure develops, where the warm air is. Troughs, well, kind of the name, it kind of looks like a trough. It's where cold fronts develop at the surface and the mid-levels, and can usually bring unsettled weather, rain, cooler air, breezy conditions perhaps. And right now, you can see We have a trough in the Great Lakes region. That's where the low pressure is. And the front is passing through right now. So this is the trough. This is showing you that in this region, there are some changes happening. What we're going to do now is play this out. See the ridge off to the west right here. This is very warm, mainly dry conditions for those folks towards the southwest, into the Central Plains, and even into the Central Rockies. We'll play this forward. The trough, again, is sitting over the Great Lakes region for Monday, hence why it's a little bit cooler, because the front passes through. It's bringing in some of that cool air from that trough. We head into Tuesday and Wednesday. Notice this. This is the ridge of warmer air. We go into Tuesday. You'll notice Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. This thing is going to grow and move into the Ohio Valley. So watch this. We go into Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Again, as I mentioned, it's going to grow and move in our direction. We go into next weekend. Again, some question marks. Saturday looks very warm. Sunday also looks very warm, but look at this. Right here, we've got a trough developing. It's much cooler air. And anytime I show a map of some sort, and in weather, if you see a lot of lines close together, whether it's pressure, whether it's temperature, or in this case, heights, that's a big change in a short distance. It's a lot of energy associated with that big change. And usually it means with it strong winds perhaps, or storm development or rain development. And with this far out, we're just going to say winds and perhaps some rain chances right now. But notice there's this big change between upper Michigan, or upper Minnesota, and I guess even upper Michigan, and southern Minnesota and southern Wisconsin. So there's this big difference here between where the cooler air is with this trough and where the edge of the ridge is. So this is going to start breaking down and kind of swinging in our direction going into next Sunday evening and Monday. So watch it. There it goes. We got those cooler heights, those lower heights moving into the Ohio Valley. So that's Monday morning of October 14th. We're going to play this out. And if you want cooler weather, you want to see these troughs become more amplified. You want to see them get darker blue, kind of giving you kind of a wavy pattern. Because that means it's going to start bringing in and reinforcing some continental polar air masses into the continental U.S. So this is Monday of October 14th, cooler air. But again, it's kind of a rinse and repeat. We've got another ridge off to the west, and going into October 15th, 16th, and this thing should stop pretty soon. Going into the 17th, that ridge does move in. Not as impressive as it's going to be this upcoming week, but it's there nonetheless. But as I mentioned, if you want to see a good pattern change of cooler air, you want to see this ridge, or you want to see this wavy pattern of the troughs beginning to get closer in our neck of the woods. And that is going to be the case. You can see here a good trough development towards the Pacific Northwest. You see here towards the Gulf of Alaska, a big trough development there. And around the week of October 25th to November 1st, I think we'll have an influence from this trough here. I think we're going to see a pretty big pattern shift of bringing us some more seasonably cooler conditions going into early November. That's just something I've been noting on the model data, and I think will be helping us kind of jumpstart into that La Nina pattern that we've been anticipating. And if you're curious, a La Nina pattern, what it is the sea surface temperatures in the Central Pacific directly have an influence on our weather pattern during the winter months. And when those waters are cooler than normal along the sea surface temperatures in the Pacific, the Central Pacific, it brings us wetter than average conditions. So that's something that we've been monitoring, and the Climate Prediction Center and NOAA Climate long term all still think that the La Nina pattern is going to develop. And so if we get a pattern like this late October, that will definitely kind of be a jump start to getting our pattern a bit more wet going into November. So hopefully that wasn't too complicated. If it was, I'm sorry. You can tell me in the comments how awful I am of a teacher. Although I wasn't really teaching too much, it was just a couple of things and just pointing them out. I don't know, maybe I taught something. That'd be cool. So that is a 7-day forecast behind me. Again, pretty dry, boring 7-day. Next Sunday, question marks on rain chances, but it does look breezy and it does look very warm. Highs in the low 80s, lows in the low to mid 50s. One last look at our Facebook comments and questions before we sign off. Start with my Facebook page first, at Ethan Emery WX. Got one new comment. Hooray. Oh, it's Sarah. You always teach us something. Well, thank you, Sarah. If I didn't do weather, I might have gone into the route of teaching or coaching. Kathy says, I'm here and listening to you. Thank you. Yeah, I was going through the whole tangent there of the heights and whatnot. Sherry saying, I am here in Palm Coast, Florida. We're waiting on Hurricane Milton to get here. I hope that you all do not get any remnants from this. We won't. But yeah, thoughts are with Florida. It's definitely a situation that's going to be bringing in life-threatening storm surge, very heavy flooding rains, as well as damaging winds for folks in Florida. And that latest track does bring it to be a Category 4 hurricane in the Gulf Coast, or the Gulf of Mexico. And it does expect to make landfall, according to the National Hurricane Center, Milton as a Category 3 by Wednesday early afternoon. And it's something we'll give you an update on tonight at 10 o'clock on Fox 19. And, of course, we'll talk about those other impacts as well as this forecast here in more detail tonight at 10 o'clock, as well as your latest news and sports headlines, of course, with the official Bengals flagship station. We will give you all the coverage inside the locker room, a lot of questions to be answered with that Bengals coaching staff as well as some of the players. Our talented sports team will give you that. And, of course, we'll give you that first alert forecast, too, with more details with that. So that'll do it for our Sunday edition of 19atSIX. I feel like I always go over on time on the Sunday show. Of course, there's more folks watching, right? But we've been going on for about 48 minutes, almost 49 minutes now. So I think I need to shut up. All right, so you'll see me, you'll see, I believe, Courtney tonight, and also all of the sports team, Reagan, Gabby, Jeremy, and Joe, right here on Fox 19. And, of course, our talented reporter, Alexis Martin. Can't forget about the entire team, and photographers, Savannah, Philip, I believe our manager tonight is Audra. I think earlier I saw on the web team, Mary. Got a great team here at Fox 19. So, again, I'm going to close off. I'm rambling too much. It's been about 50 minutes now. So, have a great evening. We'll see you tonight at 10 o'clock. If you're going to go to bed before that point or you're not going to watch, we got you covered beginning at 4:30 on Fox 19. Frank and Catherine will be breaking down more on Milton and as well as our forecast here at home beginning at 4:30 on Fox 19. So thank you all so much for joining us. Have a wonderful Sunday evening.